Welcome to Growing Older with Gusto. I'm Gail Zuckerman, the host of this podcast that is dedicated to the art of showing people how to grow older in a positive and productive way. Today, we have a very special guest on the show, Dan Metcalfe, who's coming to us from California. He's a really interesting man who took a life-altering event and turned it into a successful career. Dan is an internationally acclaimed performance coach, speaker, and creator of the Total Balance Program and the Metcalfe Method, a neuroscience-based approach to brain-to-body transformation. His work stems from overcoming a catastrophic spinal injury that left him paralyzed on stage and later surviving a partial brain death after a bicycle accident. He has helped over 70,000 people worldwide who have Parkinson's, MS, and Olympians with injuries. He's also starred in global theater hits like Starlight Express and worked on films with Shirley MacLaine and Mark Bennett. Also, aside from all this, he was a 10-year spokesperson for Under Armour. He has so much to tell us and talk about, so let's get started. Welcome to the show, Dan.
Gail, thanks so much for having me. And I love the word gusto. It's great because it's so energetic, and I love your podcast.
Thank you so much. Let's just start out with talking a little bit. You mentioned to me that your work that you do right now centers on what you are calling the 7 pillars of natural health. Can you, speak to us about what these 7 pillars are, how they interact, and just to start us off that way?
Yeah, great question, and thank you. Before we actually start, I just want to let everybody know that's listening. There's a saying that I love, that if the pilot light is still on, the flame can be immense. Right? Think about it. If the pilot light is still on, the flame can be immense. And when I look at the people that I've trained, so many people in their 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, even 100, the difference in them was willingness to do the work. And if you're not willing to do the work, everything else becomes a waste of time, because the magic we seek is in the work we avoid. And everyone listening, I promise you, you can do more, achieve more, live happier, live healthier if you're willing to put in a little bit of effort. Which brings me to the 7 pillars. The 7 pillars really are what we grew up with. When we were born, and we're born superhuman, we were incredible. We didn't know that we should get sick, or that we're going to get sick, or that there is no recovery or anything. Our body was just there, and we played in life. And we don't stop playing because we age. We age because we stop playing. So today I want to share some incredible tips that I've seen tens of thousands of people have incredible success with, because I truly care. Now,
let's bring it on.
Okay, pillar number 1, oxygen. It's the number 1 critical aspect to our survival. If we don't have oxygen, we are going to end up not being around anymore. And just so you know, the 7 pillars are organized in the importance for living, but it doesn't mean to say you have to focus on them in the order that I give. Now, oxygen can be how we breathing. For example, most people take short, shallow breaths, which sit in our upper respiratory system, which puts our nervous system into a fight or flight because the body doesn't feel relaxed. And everybody knows if you sit there and take in deep breaths, we feel more relaxed naturally. Well, if we do that, we oxygenate better and we allow our nervous system to relax. So I tell people all the time, and there's much more to it. We're gonna just give little tips here. Spend 5 minutes a day sitting down, eyes closed, just taking in deep breaths and slow breathing out. And you'll be amazed how that will affect how you feel, and also help your body to heal quicker, because we're not in a stress state. We're in a relaxed comfort state.
And they often do that with meditation. They have you do that.
Meditation is fantastic for the human spirit and for the biological body too.
Interesting. Okay, so we're all going to take some deep breaths after this podcast.
and there's so much more within that, but I don't want to overwhelm the information. So number 2 is probably one of the most critical, and it's hydration. We all know we should drink, but we've trained our bodies to get used to not having the amount of water that we need. Or as we age, we don't want to drink later in the day because we're going to wake up in the middle of the night. And 75% of adult Americans are in a chronic state of dehydration. Now, I was a head coach on the Olympic program, and we knew that 3% dehydration could lead to up to 20% underperformance. Now we know as we begin to age, we hear, I've lost my memory. I can't remember things quite as well. I keep forgetting things or where things are. Well, dehydration is a critical factor in memory retention. And the truth is, we don't forget our memory because if we're trying to think of something we can't and then we let it go and we stop thinking, 2 days later, it suddenly comes to us and we go, oh, now I remember. We haven't thought of it. We haven't gone and researched it. It just came back. We don't lose our memory. We lose our accessibility to memory. And a huge part of that is hydration. So if I can give a quick little tip here, Gail, is that all right?
Absolutely.
Great. What I say to people is fill up a glass of water. And when we're told we need to drink between 8 and 12 glasses of water a day, we go, oh my gosh, that's so much. You learn, how am I going to drink that much? Well, we have to train ourselves to do it. But when we normally drink a glass of water, we feel bloated. We don't feel better. We feel kind of heavy or sluggish. And most of it isn't being absorbed. It's going to be peed out. So what I say to people is fill up a glass of water, have it by the side of you and sip it through the hour. And at the end of the hour, fill that glass up again. If it isn't finished, it's okay because you've been sipping. But now we can look each hour over 8 to 10 hours. Did I finish that water? Don't glug it at the end to try and finish it. Get used to sipping because the body absorbs it more. But this is the probably most critical tip. Before you go to bed at night, we've said, I don't want to drink 2 hours before I go to sleep because I'll wake up and I want to sleep through the night. Start working backwards because if we sleep 8 hours and we didn't drink for 2 hours before we went to bed, that's now 10 hours of no liquid going into our body. And we do dehydrate as we sleep. Just by breathing, we dehydrate. So this is my tip. Before you go to sleep at night, the last thing you do after you've cleaned your teeth, got set up, have one small mouthful of water. One small mouthful. What will happen is when you swallow, it's going to sit into your gut. You're already probably slightly dehydrated and the water will be absorbed. It won't go to your bladder and sit there. It's going to be absorbed through the cellular level. So you're not as dehydrated when you wake up in the morning.
Well, don't we get that though by brushing our teeth before we go to sleep?
Well, most people don't swallow.
We might not swallow. That's true.
Yeah, so
I'm thinking of rinsing and after you brush your teeth.
But it's not going into our gut, and in our gut is where it starts to go through the cellular process and help hydrate. But it's a great point you bring up. Once we want that water sitting in there, we want good water. We don't want the toothpaste and all the fluoride and everything going in as well. Now, once that happens, once you get comfortable with that, take another mouthful of water 15 minutes before you go to sleep. It may take you a week to get there. So you have one mouthful 15 minutes before, one mouthful right when you go into bed. Small sip. Then you work backwards. You take a small sip 30 minutes before, then you take a small sip 45 minutes before, and then 1 hour before you should have had 5 sips. But do it over a month. And then when you wake up in the morning, have a glass of water or a bottle of water next to your bed. And before you get out of bed, start sipping for the first hour. It's incredible brain health and it gets your body working.
I'm going to try that. That sounds very interesting. What about if you eat fruit that's a high water content? Does that count?
It does actually. You'll hear people will say, I drink my fluids. I think it's great. However, there can be a lot of sugar, natural sugar in there that can give us that spike up and down. Sugar, fruit is great. Artificial sugar is not. But again, I wouldn't say, we know watermelon is great, right? It's probably the most watered down.
An apple, which is mainly water.
There's not as much as there is in fruit, but a lot of sorry, go ahead.
Maybe not as much as in an orange, but
yeah. Again, we want to make sure we're hydrating. For me, more than just fruit. And most people don't want to eat fruit, half an hour before they go to bed. And we don't want to have the stomach acid working while we're sleeping. It should be our body's energy should be work on recovering from the day and preparing for tomorrow.
That sounds good. It sounds probably right on target. Okay, so let's move on. Now we're going to talk about sleep, right?
Yep. Number 3 is sleep. We know that most people don't sleep well through they're not getting a good enough sleep through the night. I think hydration is the easiest one to address because that's a cognitive action. Sleep can be a tough thing because we've been taught if we're not sleeping well, we fear that we're not going to sleep. And so we tend to focus on what our fears are. And when we stay up, we can't go to sleep. There's certain protocols that most people know, but we don't adhere to. Things like don't have screens before you go to bed at least an hour before. Try and have a completely dark room if you can. It's really important. Even having a flashing alarm clock next to you can affect our subconscious while we're sleeping. So if you like to have a illuminated alarm clock, face it away from you. If
I have
you
a
need to,
question to interrupt for a second. I have an Apple Watch and it tracks my sleep and it tells you like REM sleep, core sleep, deep sleep, how many times you wake up, whatever. It's very cool actually. But I noticed that my deep sleep is the less of all my sleeps. I have less deep sleep than REM or core. And is there any way to change that as you get older?
yeah. So what time do you go to bed each night, roughly?
About 11:20.
Okay, and is that consistent?
It is consistent.
Okay, so first off,
But I am
the
getting like 7 hours, which for me is very good.
okay, so that's the number one thing. If you wake up and you feel awake and alive, that's great because everyone's different. As much as everyone says you should be going to sleep at this time or wake up at this time, we are all different. And some people need 10 hours sleep, high performing athletes need more. And yet you have somebody that maybe is more rested. 6 hours is enough for them. We're all unique. There is studies that are out there that say going to sleep at 10 o'clock each night, the 2 hours before midnight, because of the sunset and natural circadian rhythm, will give us more deep sleep between 10 and 12 than we would get from 12 till 6.
And I have
Because
noticed you're right. I get my deepest sleep immediately when I fall asleep.
so if you could move your sleep half an hour forward,
Right.
you probably have a little bit more deep sleep. But I want to share this that just came out as well. Dr. Matthew Walker, who's for me, one of the sleep gurus, said that they found through testing that consistent, regular sleep that your body gets used to is more important than the time you go to sleep. So if you're constantly, I'll go to sleep at 8 o'clock one night, I'll go to sleep at 1 o'clock the next night, and you're constantly around, that messes the body up more than it does if you have a consistent 11:30 every night is better than doing 10 o'clock and then 1 o'clock and switching. So consistent. And then we know getting up in the morning early and getting in the sunlight,
Right.
if you can, is great for your body clock. And then when you go to sleep at night or when the sun is setting, if you can get out and watch that sunset, it helps set your body to get used to then beginning to go to sleep.
Oh, I never knew that. That's interesting. Very nice. I love sunsets. That's great. It's the easy thing, easy fix.
It replicates a candle. And if you think when we put candles on, it naturally begins to take the light emitted, begins to put us more at peace. And it emits almost the same light frequency through the sun at sunset as a candle does.
Very nice. Okay. If I can't get to the sunset, I can light a candle. All right. Nutrition, your next pillar.
Yeah, nutrition is critical. So if I ask you a question, Gail, when we're hungry, what do?
We eat.
There you go. Brilliant. Very simple. Sometimes we ask questions and we go, it can't be that simple. No, it is.
Question, Dan?
No, and you pass with flying colors. But one word changed my whole outlook on nutrition and my health. I was an athlete, performer. I'm still an athlete. I still race, compete. And I was carrying more body fat than I wanted to. We go on these diets and we try different eating things and don't eat after this time and don't eat what we enjoy because it's bad for us. So I just changed one word and it took me from a 21.2% body fat to an 8.2% body fat just by changing one word. And I love sharing this because people would take it and do with it as they want. But I would guarantee it will make a difference. When we're hungry, instead of thinking I want to eat, where we grab the cookies, grab the chips, grab the cake, all the things that taste really good because of the over sugar. Think of the word nourish. Change the word eat with nourish. We know what's good for us and we know what's just a quick fix. So I'm hungry. Instead of looking at the quick food, say what's good for me. Grab the fruit like you picked up. Make a healthy sandwich with good quality bread if you want to have it with bread. Have yourself a baked potato if it's good with your system. We're all unique. Have your vegetables. And if you have those, it'll be incredible how the body will heal itself and our energies will change without that constant change of blood, sugar levels, the crashes, the raises that we become addicted to because of the sugars and the chemicals that are in our food naturally.
Right. And I also know that there's big talk now about not eating processed food or overly processed.
Huge. And there's a great tip that I learned from a nutritionist, and they said, read what's on the label. If you can't pronounce the words,
Right.
it's not good for you.
That's correct. That's a good one. Yeah.
The fewest ingredients possible. An apple, it's pretty easy to know what's in an apple. It's there. But if we start adding all these other things to it, it's probably not good. And it's hard to find great food. So find the one with the least additives.
Absolutely. It sounds like a good plan. Okay, onward. Next pillar.
Next one is exercise. Exercise is critical. And I love this one. This one is actually where it saved my life after my paralysis on stage and after getting hit in a metal pole with 22 miles an hour. Part of my brain died. I was knocked unconscious for over 3 minutes. And the doctors basically, in both cases, I was a number. I was a statistic. I wouldn't be here today if I listened to them and didn't trust. And it's not they're not good people. They care. They just don't have as much time to invest into us. And everybody listening, invest into you because you are incredible and you're made to heal. You're born to heal. If we do the right things, the body will help take care of you. So with exercise, we know that getting up and moving is critical. And this is maybe more important to the aging community than it is to any other, because lack of movement will decline the body. There was a study that was done on 1,800 ladies where they were followed for over 10 years. And this is a medical scientific study that went on. Those people that had good balance, we're talking about the simplicity of lack of falls or fear of falling. They lived 8 quality years more across the board than those that didn't. And we lose our balance, not because we don't have the strength. We lose our balance because we're doing less of it. And that's when I created Total Balance Company by accident to help Bob Eubanks. Everyone will know Bob Eubanks from the Newlywed Game. He was falling and was scared. Every morning he woke up, he was fearful because we know falls are the number one cause leading to death.
Right.
So I own my own sports performance training center. And I said, let me train you. In 2 minutes, I realized training Bob, I was 100% wrong. They'll tell you if you have balance issues, focus, strengthen the legs, strengthen the core. If you're shuffling, strengthen your hip flexors, you'll walk better. It's not true. I've trained over 70,000 people and had incredible results that blow away and prove scientifically that all our balance and mobility come from the brain, not the body. If it came from the body, we'd be taking babies to gyms to help them learn to walk. And there's millions of people out there that have never been in a gym that are 100% great with their balance, mobility, strength, and able to do things. We have to train the brain. And it's very simple to train the brain because when we move, the brain is active. We just need to train the pressure points in our feet and the messaging going sensory back to the brain to keep us going. If you don't use it, you'll lose it. And so I tell people, when it comes to exercise, do what you love. Put on the music in the house and dance.
Then you'll do it, right?
You don't have to join a gym. Gym is not the one that's going to save you. Your movement. Go walking every day. Go on different surfaces. If you're scared to go up and down steps, practice safely going up and down steps. The brain will engage. And I could go deeper into this. I won't because of time. But it's so scientific. And in the cerebellum that governs our movement, that again goes to our motor cortex and sends the motor neurons down, there's a small piece in there called the pyramus. The pyramus has memory of movement. And if we have had a fall or we're scared of falling, that will become activated when we move and turn around and go slower, slow down. You're in a dangerous situation. And that then governs the body's ability. Do what you love, stay safe, move more each day, challenge yourself. And again, I have an incredible system that helps with this, but I'm not here to sell that. I'm here to encourage people to turn around and say, get up and move. It will affect and determine your quality of life. I'm so passionate about it.
I can tell, but I agree. I always feel better after I work out.
And you look great as well.
Thank you. Okay, onward. Mindset. Your next.
Yes. Number 6, this is the first one I teach because we are what we think and we'll only do what we believe. If we have the wrong mindset, we will quit. And so that's why, even though it's number 6 in my pillar, and the reason it's number 6 down, even though for me it's the most important or the foundational basis, it's because we can still live without a good mindset. We can have a poor mindset and still survive. But if we're not drinking water, if we're not breathing, if we're not eating, that would take us down much quicker. But again, think of everybody that's listening. All of you have incredible experiences. You're more valuable than you know that you are because you've been slowly numbed down or dumbed down to not be as important because of either age or you were brought up in a society that kept you withheld. And everyone listening will know that there's more to them than's ever been seen. And if I said to you, how old do you feel?
Mhm.
Everyone says at least 20 years younger how they feel compared to their chronological age.
Right.
That's your mindset. You know you could do it, but you've been brainwashed in some ways to believe that when you reach this age, it's okay to be less because it just happens. Great story with my dad. He went to the doctor. He was 83 years old. He goes to the doctor. He goes, "Doctor, my left leg's hurting." And the doctor goes, "Well, Malcolm, you're getting older." He goes, "Well, my right leg's the same age. How come that one's not hurting?" Right? There's solutions.
Yeah.
Don't be limited
What did
by
the
what.
doctor say?
He laughed
Yeah.
because what is he going to say at that point? But your mindset is, I'm here to get better. We're made to heal to get better. Trust in you and then do the things that will help you. Eating clean, sleeping good, hydrating, exercising, taking your time to breathe and living life.
And challenge. I think I know what this is, but do tell me.
Okay, you tell me what you think it is because that'll be great.
I think it's nice to, as we get older, to learn something new, like a new skill, and to challenge ourselves. And that keeps us engaged in living and living well. So if you're always doing the same puzzle or, playing the same musical instrument, maybe you want to try a different musical instrument or try a different puzzle or meet new people or take a trip somewhere you've never been or do something that's out of your realm of normalcy and that keeps you going. And by the way, I think we're going to have to invite you back for another session. We have to wrap this up in about 9 minutes. So
No,
I'd
absolutely.
love to have you back on the show. This is so interesting. I could talk forever to you. It's fascinating. So just to give you a heads up. Well, how did I do with that?
Uh, you did great. You're 100% right. But I'm going to take it even deeper.
Okay.
Challenges were what we grew up with as kids, where we had goals, where we set dreams, where we believed in, if I say the American dream, we were free to dream in America. Right? I come from England. America was always the land of opportunity. And it was a destination. We saw so many great things coming out of America, and it's still a beautiful country. So as kids, we weren't limited. But now we limit ourselves because others told us this is the best we could do. So with challenges, think about something not that you want to do again. Think about the greatest thing you'd love to do again. So when I was training people that are in wheelchairs or they're walking with walkers or walking sticks, and they go, "I just love to be able to walk around the block again." I said, okay, that's not exciting. So the chance of sticking to it doesn't have enough drive to go through the training. The goal has to be greater than the effort it takes to achieve it, or we'll quit because it doesn't drive us. So I said, instead of thinking about walking around the block, where would you love to go? "Oh, I'd love to walk on the beach again." "I'll never do that because the sand's unstable." I said, okay, then we're going to work for you to go walk down the boardwalk onto the sand and put your feet in the water. "Oh, I can't do that." Mindset. Now we got to change the mindset. I want everyone to select the greatest goal because even if you don't achieve it, everything that you pass on that path to get there, and the chances are you will if you want it bad enough. But think of the things, instead of just going around the block, walking around the block became easy. Then it's like, I want to go climb on a hike. I want to go up a hill. I want to go back and walk in the shops and not worry about my balance, my mobility, my stamina while I'm carrying bags, buying a pair of shoes that I never thought I'd be able to go and pick up myself. Whatever it is, it's got to be a challenge that exceeds. It could be something you did before and never thought you'd do again. I'm 80 years old. I would love to go parachuting one more time. I used to be in the parachute regiment. This isn't me. I'm talking as if somebody. Bob Eubanks, when I trained Bob, he would love to have got back on stage again and get back on TV. So I trained him, and in 3 weeks, Bob went from shuffling, what I call the senior shuffle, hunched over, looking at the ground, scared to take your feet off of the ground. And that system, the Metcalfe method that I created, in 3 weeks, Bob was running 6 miles an hour on a treadmill, running up and down stairs, going out playing golf again, got back on stage, got back on TV, and lost the fear of the years ahead and instead replaced them with the excitement. And that probably was the biggest change, even though physically completely changed, emotionally, excitement, self-belief was the greatest change I saw. And I've seen that with so many people that have gone through the challenge because they've set the highest goals for them within that.
That's really a nice story. That really is about Bobby Banks. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
great
So
guy.
now there's so much more that I want to talk to you about. And as I said, I hope you'll want to come back and be on the show another time so we can further delve into everything you have to share with everybody. But is there any takeaways from today's discussion and conversation that you might want to share with our listeners?
Absolutely. This would be the one thing. First of all, I'd love to come back, and maybe if any of your listeners want to drop questions in, we can actually go to a Q&A as well. So it's
Sure.
specific.
That would
Or
be
if you
great.
love that. We are born at a cellular level to live to 122 years. Now, people go, I don't want to live to 122. I don't want to live where I can't move. It's not about existing. It's about living. All of you can live better today than you lived yesterday. We're built to live for 122 years. Our cells have telomeres on the end that slowly get broken down with stress, with food, with toxicity, with not taking care of our bodies and our mind. So I want everyone listening to know, if you want to live a quality life, we're not talking about in a hospital bed, on drips, on oxygen. If you want to live a quality life, invest in you. We were taught growing up, it's bad to be selfish. Self-love is not selfish. Self-love is essential, because the more you can do for you, the more you can do for others. And who doesn't want to still be playing with their grandchildren on the floor? Who doesn't want to have their children growing up being able to go to their sports events? So invest in you, give yourself self-love, set yourself goals, and then commit to them. And if I can help at all, or any of, I'm sure, the amazing podcast that you have, Gail, listen in, learn, trust, believe in yourself, and your future is golden. Not your age, your future.
Oh, I love that. That's wonderful. What a great way to leave this. And so, wow, Dan, thank you so much. Dan Metcalfe, the Metcalfe Method. We have so much more to talk with you about. This has been fabulous. And it's only just, we've only kind of cracked the surface here with you. I realize that. But we're going to get you on here again real soon and continue this. And if any listeners have any questions, feel free to either direct message me or send me an email at growingolderwithgusto@gmail.com. And we'll be glad to bring them up during the next show with Dan. So that would be great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Gail. Beautiful to everybody.